Hi, everybody. We are the tiniest bit late. Why don't you go mute the monitor there?
Morning, everybody.
YouTube, it seems very trafficky these days, so it takes a little longer to get things going. And then we had a couple sound things going on. Anyway, Scott wanted to say hi as well. So yeah, we're happy to be here today. We are trying a new format of the half and half with the two of us. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes. And over the next few Saturdays, I think Scott and I will keep playing with it. I will do about 30 minutes and then I will roll up my mat and we will roll out Scott A. Anderson, who has a very long roll. So yeah, so why don't we get started? Let's start lying on your back. So we'll have knees bent and feet flat. And then just letting your spine settle into the floor. And so take a moment here with your breath, and no right or wrong way to do that, but just observe it. And maybe along with the breath, a little bit of sense of what your energy is like. If your breath is kind of shallow and moving quickly, maybe your energy is pretty stimulated. If it feels kind of slow, maybe going a little lower into the belly, maybe your energy is a little more relaxed. And again, there's not really a right or wrong to that. That's just an observation of where you're starting. And all the movement is going to affect it either way. We'll watch that change as your body starts moving. We'll try just a little simple movement with your breath. So on an inhale, you're going to float your right leg up off the floor so your knee ends up right over your hip. And then on an exhale, place your foot right back where it was. Same thing with the other side. Inhale, the leg floats up. And exhale, floats back down. And see if you can match your movement to the rhythm of your breath, whatever it is. It might be faster or slower than I'm moving. Inhale is the first movement coming up. Exhale is the second movement, lowering down. Alternating each time. We're going to stay with this movement a little bit longer. And notice how much effort you're using to do it. Is your neck grabbing to lift your leg? Is your back grabbing to lift your leg? Are you super, super tight in your abdominals? See if you can find the minimal amount of effort to do the movement. Maybe a little bit of abdominal support. Maybe a little bit of push from the foot that's staying on the floor, pressing down. But if there's any extra effort in there that you think, probably don't need that. Why am I lifting my pinky just to lift my leg up? See if you can let that go. And then the next time you finish with the left side, let's leave both feet on the floor for a couple breaths. And then we're going to take your hands, lace them together, and place them behind your head. And then bring your elbows up a little bit off the floor. Usually I say 6 or 8 inches off the floor, but also you could feel where your shoulder blades are. And if your shoulder blades are pinched together, bring your elbows up a little higher. So that's another way to think about it. Elbows can be wide. Shoulder blades can be wide. That's how high you're going to lift your elbows. And then when I do that, I can usually exhale and feel my whole rib cage get a little more grounded, a little heavier into the mat. And there's a little bit of abdominal effort with that, of dropping the ribs down. And then after your next exhale, we're going to bring your head up. Take an inhale with your head up, and then on another exhale, lower back down. And here you are in your back, your elbows are lifted, your shoulder blades are wide. As you exhale, ribs get a little heavier. And as the ribs get heavier, the head comes up. You do a full breath cycle up here. Inhale and exhale. And then back to your mat. So there's your pattern. We're going to do that a few times. Same direction as the last exercise. Working what needs to work, maybe your abdominals, probably your abdominals. But then scanning the rest, and letting go of extra stuff. If your shoulders are doing a lot of work, if you feel your pelvis floating up off the floor a little bit and the hips tightening, that's not so necessary. And now the next time your head's up, let's go ahead and leave it up. We're going to reach your right hand forward. Keep your left hand holding your head for a moment. And take a breath here. Same thing. A little more work in your abdominals as you exhale. Maybe a little less work in your neck or a little less work in your hips. Bring your right hand behind your head. Left hand moves forward. Same thing. Left arm reaching forward. Inhale, exhale, a little more abdominal work. Both hands come behind your head. Head lowers down to the floor. So we're working our way towards the 100. Probably lots of you know that exercise. Some of you may not. But that position right there with one arm reaching forward, that's where we're headed with both hands now. So exhale, sinking the ribs. Head comes up. Another breath. Exhale, center more of your work down into your abdominals. And keeping that feeling, both arms reach forward. Legs come up into tabletop. We start little pumps with the arms, inhaling for 5, exhaling for 5. Breathing in and exhale. 5 little pumps to inhale and 5 to exhale. Same as the last exercise. Exhale, find a little more abdominal work, a little less of the other stuff. If your neck starts to get tired, go to that one hand position. One hand behind your head, one arm reaching forward. Now you got 3 more of these. Maybe you want to switch hands. If you have one hand behind your head, flip to the other. Last cycle. Grab your legs, bend your knees, and lower your head down to the floor. And then just take a couple breaths here. And then use your legs to rock up to sitting. Okay, so we're going to flip over. So you're on your hands and knees. And then take a moment to really feel your hands. And lately, I don't know why, but I have this thing about like big bear paws or big lion pose. And I often imagine myself in that way. Maybe I want to be a lion. So see what it's like. Like, how much could your hands spread out into the floor? And if you were a very large mammal, how much could your hand, your paw really like drop into the floor on one side and then on the other? And if I think about spreading my hand out a little bit, I usually have to bend my elbows a little to do it. So let your elbows be a little bent. And then once I get those two things, wide hands, wide elbows, then generally my shoulder blades feel pretty wide. From there, I'm going to feel the abdominal work I just worked on in the 100 exercise. So a little bit of that feeling in my belly, support in my belly. Now, I'm not going to feel it as intensely as I felt it in the 100, but I'm just going to recall it and turn some of those muscles on. So now I've got my upper body really stable, very clear. I've got my abdominals holding my spine really clearly. I'm going to take a moment and see if I could relax really subtly in the front of the thighs, in the quads. And my shins could get heavier, my feet could get heavier. Now, very first thing we did was observe the breath. So here you are, you've kind of flipped your position upside down. And then how's your breath moving inside of all that support? Now, just really keeping the quality of everything the same. Your body really balanced and lined up, your breath moving really softly and easily. We're going to remove your left hand and your right leg, and nothing else moves, but those two things reach out. Left arm, right leg, reaching away. We come back, and I am a big pawed mammal again. Soft elbows, wide back, supporting as the other side does it. Back to all fours. Alternating that a few times. And what's it like to really find your stability? Hold the right hand and left leg where they are. Hold the belly where it is. And remove the other side. And then alternating that a little bit. So maybe some of you have been on a paddle board before, or a surfboard. Paddleboard's a little easier. But you could imagine you were on that kind of surface. How steady would you have to be in order to not tip that surfboard over if you were trying to do this on that surface? We'll do it a couple more times, still getting a sense of flow in the breath. And last set, side to side. And then resting for a moment. So that feeling right there, steadying your torso as you move an arm and a leg, I'm going to ask you to recall it in a moment. So just take a moment and like snapshot that. And then we're going to flip onto your back again. And this time on your back, both legs straight out. And bring your feet together, bring your legs together. So it's like you're standing with your feet right underneath you. A little bit of effort to hold the legs there. Feet flexed. Okay, so here I am lying flat on my paddleboard. Nice, steady torso. I'm going to keep that. Right knee's going to come in right over my hip. My pelvis wants to tip a little to the right, but I'm going to find the center for my pelvis using my belly. Same thing as the leg reaches up. Torso stays steady. Now, it gets a little harder. We start to move the leg. So right leg goes over to the left and down. And especially as it opens out, I try to keep my torso really in place. Inhale across. Exhale, leaving your pelvis steady, leaving your shoulders steady, leaving your ribs steady, circling the leg around. Same circle, other direction. So starting in the open first, and exhale across and up. And if you're really being honest about keeping your torso steady, you're not going to open your leg very far. It just pretty much doesn't happen. If I really keep my pelvis where it is, if I really don't want to fall into the water off my surfboard, I can't take my leg very far open, so that's just fine. And next time your leg's back at center, bend your knee, place your right leg down by your left leg. We do the same thing with the other side. This time the leg goes over to the right first. Exhale, around and up. And now you might have a little bit of that 100 abdominal work feeling. It's a pretty good amount of work in your belly to keep that steadiness. We start the other way. Inhale out, exhale, cross and up. Steady pelvis. Exhale, rib sink, a little bit of work in the belly. One more of these. And then bending your left leg. Take hold of it. Come up to sitting. So we're going to go onto your side body. So what we just did on your back, we did it on your hands and knees, we did it on your back. Now we're going to try to do that lying on your side. Now, your back is wider than your side. So the side is a little harder to keep that steadiness, right? So we want to challenge that a little bit. So I'm going to start on my left side just so I can go back to my right leg again. I'm going to be lined up along the back edge of the mat, arm all the way flat, and then my feet come forward to the front side of the mat. And then I can think of what I just did lying on my back, that my pelvis and my ribs and my head would all be in the same line, right? So I want to feel that right there. Now, first thing that happens is probably I'm pretty close to the floor and everything's relaxed. So if I can draw my left side of my waist up just a little bit and think of the very most bottom ribs, like 8, 9, 10, 11 ribs, floating up just a little bit off the floor. I don't want to lift my armpit off the floor. I want to lift a weight on low by my waist. A little bit of work to make that happen. Now, just feel what it's like to roll forward and back on your pelvis and what that is. And then see if you can figure out where's the center, where is directly side of your pelvis. There's a little bony spot for a lot of us that's directly the side of the pelvis. So maybe you feel that, but just aligning hip over hip. Now, probably when you did that, you lost the left rib, so turn that on again. I lost the left rib. We're gonna lift your top leg just a little. Now the goal, don't rock your pelvis back and forth. You know what you don't wanna do. You wanna leave your pelvis in place as your leg goes forward, and then leave your pelvis in place as your leg goes back. You are very delicately balanced. And using your abdominals to hold that balance. Inhale is the forward movement. Exhale is the back movement. Now we're getting a little more into the side abdominals, the oblique abdominals, and how they work to steady you in this position. Now maybe you feel your underneath leg, your bottom leg pushing into the floor a lot to help you. It's not the worst thing, but Could your abdominals do a little more and your leg do a little less? Last one. And then legs come together. And we'll do the other side. Feet are on the front side of the mat. Body is on the back side of the mat. Long line, feet together. Let's do this thing in the hips again. It feels kind of good, I think. Roll a little forward, roll a little back. Sometimes it's nice to do the thing that you're gonna not do. And this is what you're not gonna do, is roll your pelvis back and forth. So then find what's center, where you think that center place is. Right waist, right lower ribs lifting up, left leg lifting up, holding the pelvis still. Forward, exhale, back. Now we got about 4 more of these. How's your neck doing? Is it coming on to help? Every time you exhale, find a little more stomach. Legs come together again. And push up to sitting. Okay, so we'll try a little bit of rolling. So this is maybe like our most balanced tipping point. I must be dreaming of Hawaii a lot because I've been thinking about this paddleboard a lot. I suppose I could paddleboard somewhere other than Hawaii. That is a possibility. So now we find this balance point behind your sits bones, behind your tailbone. I'm pretty round. I want to be connected in my center, but definitely I'm round in my spine. My knees are bent. And then that same thing, what do I need to do to slowly lift my feet off the floor and feel like, okay, I'm right through the center of that point, behind the pelvis, behind the sits bones, behind the tailbone. And then I'm going to start a little rocking chair movement. Tip back just a little bit without falling over. And then draw your belly in, tip forward just a little bit. And I'm thinking of right through my center, creating the movement. And then right through my center, coming forward. Second thing we've been talking about, where's the extra effort? Are you adding in some neck and chest that you don't need? Maybe you're holding your feet really high. They don't really need to be very high. Third thought, breath. Let's keep the breath moving. Now, we'll make it a little bigger. All the way back to the balance. So I've got to roll back, find the center of my shoulder blades, roll up, right through the center of the pelvis. Inhale back. Exhale, up to the balance. 2 more of these. And then relax your feet down. We're going to keep some of that ball shape and come over onto your hands and feet into a little ball. And then press through your feet. Let your spine hang forward. Let your head release forward. Legs don't have to be straight. They could be straight if that's comfortable, but they could be bent as well. And then here too, shift your weight a little bit forward, shift your weight a little bit back, maybe a little bit over to the right and the left. See if you can figure out weight evenly on both feet. And then your tailbone is going to drop down as you bend your knees right in between your 2 feet. Both feet really steady, helping you roll all the way up to standing. So it's about time to tag team off to someone a little taller than I am. So we will take a moment to make that shift, and we'll adjust the camera a little bit and change our mic options a little bit. And Scott will start 1.5 minutes, I think, maybe 1 minute even.
Good morning, everybody. So this is the second half of half and half. So let's begin by taking your feet fairly wide apart and then externally rotating from the hips. This is something we worked on Friday morning. Then with the exhale, bending your ankles, bending your hips, bending your knees. And then with the inhale coming up. Exhale. Divert the inhale into your back. Exhale, knit your ribs. So that's the breathing I learned from Pilates. And I found it really useful to help align the torso. Exhale, connect, keep that connection through the inhale. A way to reinforce that alignment is to think in terms of diverting the inhale into your back ribs. And what we know about the lungs is most of the lung tissue is in your back. So let's do a couple more, warming up your ankles, your hips, and your knees. Then next time your legs are straight, bring your feet together. And then building on what Colette was working on, she was talking a lot about keeping that connection. You did a number of those mini crunches, you did the 100. So summoning that same experience in your body. Then keeping your ribs knit as you lift up through the crown of your head. And that's easier said than done because most of us right about here, those lower ribs start to push forward. So keeping them connected as you lift your head up, it can almost feel like you're going to lengthen your sternum bone. Now to fully open your chest, broaden across your collarbones by lifting your shoulders a little bit up, a little bit back, and just the tiniest bit down. Deeper breathing. Divert the inhale into your back. Exhale, reinvigorate knitting your ribs. 2 more deeper breaths like that, standing tall. now maintaining that breathing as you bring your elbows up to shoulder height, fingertips also at shoulder height. So this is creating in your arms internal arm rotation. So your bicep muscles are facing forward. And maintaining that internal arm rotation as you slowly straighten your elbows, which is relatively easy to do until right about here. And keeping internal rotation becomes progressively harder as you straighten your elbows. Now the arms are dynamically connected to the shoulders, obviously, and also the neck. So extending out through your fingertips to help release your neck. Inhale, lifting up to the crown of your head. Exhale, swivel your head to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, swivel to the other side. Inhale, back to middle. Exhale, arms up. Pause here for the inhale. Exhale, float your arms down. Pausing here for a moment. So that was internal arm rotation. Now external arm rotation. So I think we have a few viewers in Arizona channeling your saguaro cactus. So with your bicep muscles facing up toward the ceiling, external rotation. Keeping that external rotation as you slowly straighten. Again, that gets progressively harder as your elbows straighten. Reach out through your fingertips. Lift up through the crown of your head. Big, deep inhale into your lower back ribs. Exhale, swivel your head to the right. Inhale back. Swivel left. Inhale back. Exhale up. Pause here for the in-breath. Exhale, float your arms down. Stepping your feet wide apart. Turn your left foot in and then your right foot out. So a little more warm up. Exhale, bending. Inhale, straightening. Two more like that. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Next time your knee in the bent position, pausing here. And invite awareness into your belly. Imagine, if you will, that your mind, not in your head, but in your belly. Then how would the world look if you perceived the world through your body, deep in your belly? Then from the depths of your belly, starting to tip, and let your neck and head come along for the ride. Elbow to knee, for the time being, hand on your hip, and aligning your neck and head with the rest of your body. Now, a little bit earlier, Colette invited you to bring your hand behind your head. Let's do the same thing here. Left hand behind your head, elbow up toward the ceiling. And to help align your spine, lightly press your head into your hand. And then use your hand to help draw the back of your head out of your tailbone. Aligning and lengthening. Deep breathing. One more full breath cycle. Releasing your hand. Riding the inhale up. And now the second side. Right foot turns in, left foot turns out. Exhale, bending your ankle, your hip, your knee. Inhale up. Two more. Movement follows breath. Next time, knee in the bent position, pausing there. Now, especially in stressful times, we tend to live in our heads, and we tend to initiate movement from the head. So as a remedy or an antidote, to send awareness down, 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 deep into your belly, your vital center. Then initiate the forthcoming movement from your pelvic bowl and let your spine, neck, and head come along for the ride. And we'll take a few moments here quietly, aligning your neck and head with the rest of your body. Now bring your right hand behind your head. And then lightly press your head into your hand to help engage your spinal extensor muscles. Helps with posture. Now use your hand to lightly extract the back of your skull out of your tailbone. Now maybe you can see how my elbows drifted forward. To your capacity, take that elbow up to the ceiling to help strengthen your posterior deltoids. Deeper breathing into your back. Knit your ribs. Inhale into your back. Exhale, knit your ribs. One more breath cycle, aligning your spine, lengthening your spine. Ride the inhale up. Turning back to the front, still facing the front, stepping your feet together. Inhale into your back. Exhale, knit your ribs. Keep that knitting as you lift up through the crown of your head. Keep that knitting as you open up your chest. Standing tall, 2 breaths here. Partial sun salutation. With the next out breath, float your arms up. Let your chin come up a little bit too. Inhale, folding forward. Remember how Colette invited us to let the head hang? Same thing here. Take a couple breaths. Keeping that sense of weight in your feet, as Colette showed you a little bit earlier. Then with the next exhale, stretch the crown of your head forward. Long neck, long spine. Deeper breathing. Now, next inhale, foldings is a great opportunity to open your back and fill it with inhale. Then exhale, come up. Use the exhale to knit your ribs. And then as you lift your arms and chin, more likely to open up your chest. Inhale, arms down. Like that, a little bit faster. Exhale up. Inhale, folding. Exhale, gorilla. Inhale, folding. Exhale all the way up. Inhale, arms down. Big old wide stride toward the front. So we're going to continue with the theme of lengthening the spine. Take your left foot in and your right foot out. Movement follows breath. Exhale, bending your knee, pausing there. Now, forthcoming transition is really easy to lead from head and neck. Relax your neck, relax your shoulders, and invite awareness deep down into your belly. Tip from your hips and let your relaxed upper body follow. But this time, instead of elbow to knee, bring your hand onto your shin. Good. Now, forthcoming transition, there's a possibility to draw your tailbone out of the back of your head. Keep the back of your head right where it is as you slowly straighten your front knee. Drawing your tailbone away from your head, lengthening your neck, Lengthening your upper back, lengthening your lower back. Now, in that process, more than likely you felt your pelvis turn to the floor, perfectly okay. Now, open your hips a little bit toward the front of the room. Steady breathing. Ride the inhale up. Turning back toward the front. Second side, turn your right foot in. Turn your left foot out. Your breath rhythm probably different than mine. Next time you feel an out breath, bend your knee. Let's pause here for at least an in breath. Invite awareness downward. Then initiating the movement from deep in your belly, flow with your next out breath. Bypassing elbow to knee, bring hand to shin. So keeping the back of your head where it is. Slowly straightening your front knee. It's normal. In fact, it's beneficial for your pelvis to turn to the floor as part of this transition. That's going to facilitate lengthening, decompressing your spine. So now that you've given the nerve roots more space, then gently turn your pelvis a little bit toward the front. Don't push that too hard. Just touching the stretch. Inhale into your back. Exhale, knit your ribs. Let the inhale organically lengthen your spine. No pesticide use. One more breath cycle. Ride the inhale up. Turning back to the front, still facing the front. Stepping your feet together. So take the next few moments quietly, using your techniques to work with your standing posture. Deeper breathing. Using the breath to reinforce the torso alignment. Partial sun salutation, you're going to add a layer to it. Begins with the inhale to open your back, especially your lower back ribs. Keep that breath as you exhale. Sweep your arms up. Let your chin float up a little bit too. Inhale, folding. Exhale, gorilla. Next inhale, stepping back. So letting your head hang, knees bent, heels lifted. And then moving your hips away from your hands. At the same time as you flow your fingertips forward in front of you. Again, letting your head hang, really common to hold the head up subconsciously, because that's where a lot of us store our attention. Deep inhale into your back. Exhale, step, step, step to gorilla. Inhale, folding. Exhale all the way up. Inhale down. Adding a step to that, exhale up. Inhale, folding. Exhale, gorilla. Inhale, dog pose. Additional step, exhale, straight arm plank. And take a moment here to sense where your heels and your shoulders are. And then bring your hips in line with your heels and shoulders. And then bring your neck and head in line with your heels, hips, and shoulders. Deep inhale here. Exhale, flow back. Deep inhale here. Exhale, step, step, step. Inhale, folding. Exhale, press down to float up. Inhale, arms down. Adding a layer to that. Exhale up. Inhale, folding. Exhale, gorilla. Inhale, dog pose. Exhale, straight arm plank, heels, hips, shoulders lined up. Inhale, lowering down. Couple deeper breaths here. This is actually a treatment for lungs, is to do deep breathing on your belly. So good for keeping the lungs free and clear. Next exhale, pushing up to hands and knees. Inhale, dog. Exhale, step, 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 gorilla. Inhale, folding. Exhale all the way up. Inhale, arms down. Adding a layer to that. Exhale up, potential to open up your chest, especially if you keep your ribs down. Inhale, folding, a chance to release your upper back, especially if you let your head hang. Exhale, gorilla, a chance to articulate your upper back. Inhale, back dog pose. Exhale, straight arm plank, everybody's favorite, so good for strength. And a continuation of strengthening, slowly lower down. Lifting your arms, reaching back. Then with the next out breath, lifting up into locust. Head comes up a little, chest comes up a little, legs come up a little. Steady breathing. Inhale down. Exhale, push up. Good for building strength. Exhale, dog pose. Couple breaths here. Stepping with the other foot, exhale, step, step, step. Here we are in gorilla again. Inhale, folding, directing the inhale into any of the stiff places in your upper back. Exhale all the way up, ribs down, chin up, arms up. Inhale, arms down. So now putting all those pieces together. Exhale, arms up. Inhale, folding forward. Exhale, gorilla. Inhale, dog. Exhale, straight arm plank. Inhale, down. Exhale, locust. Inhale, back to your belly. Exhale to hands and knees. Inhale, dog pose. Exhale, step, 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 gorilla. Inhale, folding. Exhale all the way up. Inhale, arms down. Ankles, hips, knees bending. We worked on this a little bit on Thursday night. So when your hips bend, it means your butt sticks out a little bit. That's perfectly okay. Now, to get the best benefit in opening your chest and freeing the upper back, knit your ribs. Use the out breath to help connect those lower ribs to your belly. So you can use the inhale to reinforce that connection by diverting the inhale into your lower back ribs. Now bring your shins a little more forward, deeper ankle bend. Correspondingly, bend a little deeper in your hips. And related a little bit deeper in your knees. Then bring your arms forward in front of you. And with the exhale, raise your arms up, let your gaze track your hands. 5 breaths. Exhale up. Holding here. Exhale, float your arms down. Rest your mind. Now we'll conclude with a couple minutes of guided relaxation. You could recline on the floor if you'd like. You could sit on a chair if you'd prefer. You recline on your bed. It's a nice thing about doing these practices at home. So whether you're sitting or reclining, your choice whether you keep your eyes open, some people prefer, or closing your eyes. Some people prefer eyes closed. So whether your eyes are opened or closed, it's not uncommon with these practices that there's feelings in the body. Sometimes it's a little bit of a tug, maybe you stretch something that was tight. Or maybe some muscles are talking to you. Some of those holds for a little bit longer. So whatever the feelings in your body may or may not be, simply feeling them is the meditation. Our mind is really good at discursive thought. Is this the right feeling or the wrong feeling? Am I doing it wrong? How can I do it right? So not to say that you should stop those thoughts. Trying to stop thoughts. Well, I think a lot of us have that experience. Doesn't tend to go as planned. So simply aware of the thoughts, neither grabbing hold of them, nor trying to make them stop or pushing them away. So to summarize, the invitation is to feel in your body whatever may or may not be present. not to say that you have to be feeling something. And when thoughts arise, and it's pretty much when, not if, simply witnessing, neither trying to make them stop or go away, nor following them. Simply aware. The very definition of meditation. Now, if you've closed your eyes, opening your eyes. And if you've reclined, returning to sitting. And thank you so much for joining us. If there are any questions here, I'll allot a couple moments for that. And in the meantime, in the interim, we'll be offering this class half and half each Saturday morning. We're committed to keeping our offerings accessible. So please do join us. Please visit pilatesonharrison.com to see all the rest of our programs. So any questions today? Doesn't look like it. All righty. Thanks so much for joining us, and we sure hope that we can work together again next Saturday.